crisis when Superboy died. Connor! No! And that was pretty much me for a whole year since until Superboy returned, because Superboy is one of my favorite DC characters. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the Young Justice pilot episode review because I bet about half of this episode was pretty much a Superboy origin story. The Young Justice comic book series is actually what got me into the character of Superboy in the first place. So naturally I was very interested in this new cartoon series when it was announced. And what did I think of the pilot episode? I think we have something here. I think this could be a great addition to the family of DC Universe animated shows. I like that it's very different from Teen Titans, it's very different from Legion of Superheroes. They made it very dark and serious. Well, not very dark and serious, but it's definitely, it's not a kid's show per se. It has a lot of references, a lot of heroes from the DC Universe show up. The tone itself is very different. I mean, in the first 10 minutes of the pilot episode, you have Speedy telling Green Arrow and all the heroes that they can go fuck themselves, that he's not their lapdog and he deserves their respect and their trust. And that really let you know that, wow, you know, these sidekicks mean business. So after Speedy fucks off, that leaves Robin, Aqualad, and Kid Flash to kind of think about, you know, what are we going to do, and do we deserve to, you know, do our thing as heroes? And that's how they stumble upon Superboy. Another thing that I really liked about this show, outside of the fact that I was really surprised that they're taking it very seriously, is the animation. The animation is on par with direct-to-DVD movies that have been coming out of DC Animation recently. The action scenes were great, especially the fight scenes. Superboy's powers come off really strong. You can tell that this is going to be a powerhouse of a character for this particular team. And the one character whose powers maybe didn't come off so well is Kid Flash. But with Flashes, you know, you always have problems. You don't know how fast to make them. You don't know how to properly represent that speed and blah blah blah. So it's not really all that surprising. But all in all, I really like the animation. I really like the look of the characters. They convey emotion very well. The one thing that I didn't like about the characters and the animation and technical stuff like that is the voice acting. These kids do not sound like kids, okay? Especially the guy who voices Aqualad. He sounds like he's 30 and he's doing a Batman voice impression or something. He sounds like he could very well voice Black Panther and it would be no difference, you know? He just doesn't sound like a kid at all. Same goes for Superboy. The guy who voices Robin is pretty good. He does sound kind of like a teenager. I didn't hear that much out of Kid Flash to form an opinion yet. And otherwise, you know, the heroes, they're voiced, Batman is voiced by Bruce Greenwood, who did the Batman voice in Batman the Red Hood, Under the Red Hood, I'm sorry. But yeah, my main gripe with the Young Justice pilot episode is the voice acting. I don't know how these guys got these jobs. It's not that big of a deal, but it is to me, because when I hear like a 30-year-old voice coming out of the character of Aqualad, it just kind of takes me out of the show a little bit. It was really great to see these characters like come together and work together by the end of it, and I like the fact that my favorite character, Superboy, came off as a badass, and at the end, you know, Superman, he's just like any other dude. When he comes face to face with his baby and the idea that he's a baby's daddy, he isn't going to take it very well. So at the end, Superman kind of rejects his Superboy clone. And that's pretty much in the spirit of the comic books, where for about a decade or something, Superman pretty much ignored Superboy until, you know, it came time for him to die, and then we have to give a shit about Superboy, of course. So yeah, I like that it was in tone, it was in the spirit of the comics, even though it's a very, very loose adaptation. Obviously, it's a very loose adaptation of Young Justice, because Robin is Dick Grayson and Kid Flash is Wally West, and Young Justice was all about Tim Drake, Bart Allen, and Superboy. But you know that again, it's a very loose adaptation. So yeah, to conclude, I had a few qualms with the pilot episode, but nothing major except for the voice acting maybe. But I don't think that can be helped. All in all, I really hope that Young Justice gets at least 3 or 4 seasons. Please.